Today, there is a major geopolitical and cryptographic dimension to the history of U.S. intervention in Venezuela. To understand how the world is being reconfigured, one only needs to look at the evolution of Switzerland, which froze all of President Maduro's assets. For a long time, Switzerland was perceived as the ideal neutral country for asset protection, but that is no longer the case. It now aligns immediately under the pressure of the international system. This proves that even heads of state, who are supposedly above the system, can have their pockets picked if the leaders of that system decide so. The only true protection consists of holding Bitcoin offline on a hardware key, without intermediaries and outside of institutions, as it is the only way to escape third-party control. To illustrate this power dynamic and how major powers are eyeing these digital assets, I suggest you watch this short video analyzing the stakes of a potential strategic seizure by the Americans. Let's watch it, and we'll discuss it right after.
Reports suggest Venezuela may have quietly amassed a Bitcoin reserve worth tens of billions of dollars. None of that is confirmed, but if the U.S. seizes those coins and adds them to its own strategic reserve, you're looking at potentially a substantial supply of BTC getting locked up for years. That is the kind of narrative that crypto traders love to move on. And technicals are also helping here. Bitcoin is back above its 50-day moving average for the first time since that major October washout. That move forced shorts to cover into the rally. The options market tell the same story. Derivatives exchange Deribit shows the $100,000 call is now the most popular bet on the board.
According to some reports, Venezuela may have secretly accumulated massive amounts of Bitcoin to bypass sanctions on its oil to the point of possibly owning 600,000 BTC, while official figures show only 240. The Venezuelan state initially used USDT, but this stablecoin can be frozen by the company Tether if wallets are identified as linked to sanctioned entities. This vulnerability naturally drives them toward Bitcoin, as there is no Mr. Bitcoin to pressure into blocking a transaction once you own your own keys. It is crucial to understand the technical difference between these two assets. USDT is what we call a centralized asset. It is issued by a private company, Tether, which has a pause or freeze button on its smart contract. If the U.S. government identifies an address linked to Venezuelan oil, a legal injunction is all it takes for the issuer to make those funds unusable, as USDT is closely tied to U.S. debt and the financial system. Conversely, Bitcoin operates on a decentralized network of thousands of computers without a central authority. No one can say block this person's Bitcoins because the protocol only recognizes the mathematical signature of the private keyholder. This absence of a trusted third party is what allows Venezuela or any individual to remain truly sovereign. Venezuela also reportedly sold about $73 million worth of gold to Turkey and the UAE in 2018. Suggesting an urgent need for liquidity and alternative circuits that could lead to the massive purchase of cryptocurrencies. If the United States were to get its hands on these tokens, they could potentially become the world's largest Bitcoin holder, locking a substantial portion of the supply into their own strategic reserve. It is important to realize that with only 21 million units ever produced, and about 3 to 4 million tokens already permanently lost, the available supply is extremely limited. Today, owning a full Bitcoin is a marker of absolute scarcity that is not yet fully reflected by its current price of 90,000 euros. To understand this scarcity, you have to compare what a capital of 90,000 euros represents depending on the chosen asset. In real estate, owning this amount is relatively common, with about 1 in 4 or 5 people holding such wealth. For stocks, it becomes rarer, at about 1 in 70 people, as this type of investment is less widespread than property. Gold is even more selective, with only 1 in 115 people owning the equivalent of a Bitcoin in precious metal. But the most striking figure concerns Bitcoin itself. Mathematically, only 1 person in 500 in the world will ever be able to own a full Bitcoin. This means that holding a single Bitcoin is 4 times rarer than owning the same amount in gold, and 100 times rarer than owning it in real estate. This scarcity is now attracting the world's biggest players. The creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, holds 1.1 million Bitcoin that have never moved. Companies like MicroStrategy are accumulating massively for their treasury, while giants like BlackRock manage growing quantities for their clients via ETFs. Nations like China, the UK, Bhutan, and El Salvador are also already positioned. By 2030, this asset will have become increasingly difficult for the average person to access as institutions and states seize it. However, do not lose sight of the fact that investment should not be seen as a lottery ticket. While Bitcoin offers impressive historical performance, it carries exceptional risks and can lose 30% of its value in a single year. Beyond your asset allocation, what will make the real difference in the long run to becoming wealthy is not just where you put your money, but your ability to be entrepreneurial and increase your income so you can invest more. Investment alone does not make you rich. It is entrepreneurship that creates wealth and allows you to increase your investment power over time. For those who wish to take action and build this financial sovereignty, I have provided several tools in the description. You can start by opening an account with Trade Republic via my sponsored link to build your traditional asset base. For those who want to go further and literally print Bitcoin daily, I recommend creating a Go Mining account. It is an excellent entry point to accumulate fractions of BTC regularly and understand the mining mechanisms we discussed. If you want to dive deeper into these strategies, learn how to secure your assets offline, or discover how to increase your income to invest more heavily, join me on my Patreon. That's where I share my detailed analyses, and where we build the pillars of your independence together, far from the pressures of traditional institutions. Finally, if this content helped you better understand the geopolitical stakes behind crypto, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, so you don't miss any future analyses. Let me know in the comments, do you think the United States will actually succeed in seizing Venezuela's war chest? I read all your feedback. Take care and see you very soon for the next one. In the meantime, stay free.